Welcome to the NC Spin After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website. I want to ask each of you, what do you wish you had said on last week's show, but you didn't? Becky Gray, I'll start with you.
Tom, when we were talking about Roy Cooper, the deal with the pipeline, the permit, the slush fund, one thing that's really struck me about this is I think that it's clearly an overreach of the governor's powers to set up that slush fund and then have complete control of it. It's just ironic to me that this is the same guy who has sued the General Assembly over and over and over again on separation of powers questions. And with this, in my mind, and I think as this story unfolds, we'll see more of this, it's clearly a question of separation of powers.
Good
It just
point.
Seems ironic.
Henry Hinton, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
You asked me about the op-ed piece that Board of Governors Chairman Lou Bisset wrote and some of the board members attacking him for having written it. And I mentioned that it was really one board member who really came out. Even some of the other board members who've had other negative things to say to Lou were actually ready and poised to support him. But the argument apparently was so weak by Senator Ruccio in the board meeting that most of the board members, as one of the board members put it to me, he didn't lay a finger on Lou, so we just let it go. And I will say this, the way Lou dealt with it in his normal, jovial, fair, and honest
Although he did say,
good old Asheville boy style.
Why should I do this when Harry Smith and Tom Fetzer and others, Marty Codis, they're doing the same thing. They're talking to the media.
Yes, and that's absolutely true. During the period of time that I was on the board, I would never go and talk directly to the media. People would always ask me, will you come make a comment on this or that? But, I thought we should be talking.
I remember, because I was one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't even do this show. But I felt like that the board should be speaking as a board and individual people who would go out and attack the board and the media. I just thought that was
and that had been traditionally done.
Yeah.
All right, Cash Michaels, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
When we talk about justifying partisanship, which, I agree with everyone, that's built into the system, and, when Democrats are in charge, they do things to favor them, Republicans, et cetera, et cetera. My problem is when we have court after court after court tell this Republican legislature in particular that what you're doing is illegal.
Yeah, but those courts, they say, are dominated by Democrats.
And?
Well, so it's back to the partisan issue.
Look,
again.
It's a matter of law. If you are stacking and packing black voters into a fistful of districts just so they have no influence in votes for the rest of the state, that is unconstitutional.
But don't we get to the point where we got Democratic law and Republican law?
Well, give me more.
Evidently.
Well, give me more Democratic law then. Huh?
Chris Fitzsimon, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
I wanted to say one other thing about the Board of Governors, and you sort of referenced it a little bit in what I think in the introduction is not too many years ago, there were a significant number of seats, I don't know if it was a third or a fourth, were reserved for the minority party in the General Assembly. The minority party would nominate candidates, everybody would vote for them. When the Republicans took over, they ended that practice. The irony of it is when the Democrats ran the General Assembly, the chair of the Board of Governors, briefly, was Peter Hans, who was a prominent Republican who the Senate leadership now wants to be wants to be the head of the university system. That was their candidate. I think it's time we've needed to reevaluate how these things are elected, but for goodness sakes, in the spirit of bipartisanship, why don't we go back to having at least some seats reserved for the members of the minority party?
Not just minority party, but minorities in general and women.
Right.
Because they're lacking
in this era of partisanship, and if the Democrats are in control, they should do it. Republicans should do it now.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.